Hi guys, it's Tip Tuesday with the Homeschool Bunch. This is Karen, and today your Tip Tuesday is going to cover what are some tips of choosing a homeschool curriculum according to your child's learning style. I know I've spoken before about the learning style. What I want you to do is make sure that you've taken a quiz or either, read about learning styles and that would help you to choose what type of learning style your child does have. Some children may have more than one learning style, so you might want to look into the curriculum that you choose and make sure that it covers both, or that you choose different ways of instruction that will help them learn better because according to what their learning style is. So here are some tips that we have today. Here I'm going to break down the different types of learning styles that your child may have. And your child may be a combination of these. The first one's a visual learner. They do well with reading. They do well with note taking. They like to see what they're learning. The auditory learner, they like videos. They like auditory books. They like to hear you read aloud. Kinesthetic is one that they can't have to move around a lot. They like to have things where they're getting up and doing things. Tactile is more if they got to have their hands on it. So that's the type of learner that hands-on for the tactile learner. Here are some websites that I came up with. The first one is Alpha Omega Publishers. They have Monarch. They have Switched On Homeschool, Student Packs, the Life Packs. They have Horizons and Weavers. Weavers is more of the unit studies. But they even have a chart here on their website that you can look at that takes each type of curriculum that they offer, and it shows you which learning style it matches. And I love that. So you can look at that. Also, there's another one called Abeka Book, Abeka Publishers. These are used in a lot of Christian private schools. My oldest one had it in a Christian preschool that he was in years ago. It is more for the visual learner. It's a lot of just basic, but I love it because we're using part of it too with our children because it has a lot of bright colors, a lot of pictures that my younger son really loves. And it gives you enough repetition to learn each skill that you're trying to do. This one is Bob Jones University, and what this one has is it's more of a curriculum based. This one is more for your visual learner. It just is, and this curriculum too is more on the higher end of cost, so you want to take that into consideration. They have samples there on their website that you can look at, and it's great for the visual or auditory learner. The next one is Classical Conversations. You may have some co-ops that use this around you. This is a very intensive homeschool curriculum. It is fantastic, has lots of memorization. The kids learn so much more and are so far ahead of their age level and grade level when they use this curriculum. This one is very visual intensive, and so that's going to gear towards that child and the one that's really driven, I think. The next one is Christian Liberty Press. I actually have some friends that have done this, and they did it from kindergarten all the way up to their senior year with their children homeschooling. It is visual and auditory mostly, but it's short enough lessons that if you have a child that's kinesthetic, you can kind of integrate some of your hands-on things that you can find online that can go with this curriculum, because what you get does not take forever and a day to do the lessons. The next one is Saxon Math. This one is a lot of goes towards the visual learner, but also with a child that maybe has a hard time remembering facts from maybe last month. These lessons, they will review you with all kinds of problems that you have done throughout the year. You'll have your basic skill that you're learning in that lesson, but then you'll also have problems that review from even weeks and weeks and weeks ago, which I love because it helps them retain it throughout the year. They do not forget their skills so much. This one is Sunlight. Same thing with this. It's like Bob Jones. It is a package curriculum, but I think you could also pick and choose between your subjects. This is a lot of auditory and visual. They do offer some auditory choices in this curriculum. I have not used it and do not know anybody, but I know that it is a big seller and a lot of homeschoolers do use this. The next one's Teaching Textbooks. I have actually used this with my older son. This is great If you have younger kids that you're really wanting to put a lot of one-on-one time with, which I have to do, and then my older son, this one has a CD and DVD that they can play, and it does the lessons for them. It has someone teaching them the skill, and then they go to their student book and do their work. And then that freed me up to be able to work with my other child one-on-one when my older one could do this with the teaching textbooks. The next was Mystery of History. It is a Christian, it tells history according to his story, God's story, and it takes you all the way through time. This one is auditory and it is visual. And also, I would say you could use this probably with the kinesthetic child, because what you could do is incorporate trips to museums according to whatever you're studying there in the Mystery of History. We have lots of museums around us, so we're blessed with that. Also, with the Story of the World, this is more of one that's not so much biblical, but it is very thorough. It takes you from ancient history all the way up to modern history. So you could start this and use this for many, many years right now. And it also, you could probably use it with different age levels instead of having to buy a history book for every single child. You might want to get this curriculum and then kind of, work it out for each age group. Timberdoodle, wonderful curriculum. I have some friends that use this. This is great for your hands-on kids and your kinesthetic kids. They have a lot of science labs available through this, a lot of manipulatives. Matthew C. You'll see the Matthew C. options on this picture here. Matthew C. is a very, very, very wonderful hands-on math curriculum that gives you a lot of math manipulatives too, if you're interested in that. Also, if you're just starting to homeschool and you're not really sure what your kids, they're not really motivated, they've got discouraged with regular schooling, Sarah Brown has these journals that are delight directed learning. And what you do is you get one of these journals, let the kids decide what they want to learn, and then develop your curriculum around that. And that way it can kind of motivate them at first of the learning before you really dig into a curriculum choice. As we wrap this up, one thing that is a main issue that you need to just remember and keep in your mind, every child's different. And if you're just starting to homeschool, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. What you might want to do is take one of those journals that Sarah Janice Brown has, and what it does is it says pick 6 or 8 books and picks a few topics that your child may like, and then go from there. Take a book and have them read the book. Maybe take a chapter at a time, and then also you could just take your basic. There's some, if you go on Amazon.com, called Complete Curriculum. If you look up on Amazon, or even I think Christian Book may have it, but I know Amazon does. It's called Complete Curriculum, and you just put the grade beside it. Let's say they're in grade 5. Complete Curriculum, grade 5. And it's a whole book of just basic reading, grammar, and math, and some other, I think it's a lot of reading comprehension and things like that. Pick one of those and then take the delight directed books that Sarah Janice Brown has and do that for a little while. And what you might want to do too is with history and science, I know that the complete curriculum does not cover that, but you might just want to say, hey, what are you interested in science? And whatever they're interested in, go online. There's all kinds of resources. Go on All-in-One Homes. If you wanted to, with science and history, that's an idea. It just popped in my head. Go to allinonehomeschool.com, and they have a science and a history curriculum. And it has the history where it's divided up by levels, but also it's divided up by sections of time. So if your child's really interested in ancient history, ancient civilization, they have a whole section for that. If they are more into American history, you've got that. If they're more in worldwide history, there's a section that she has for that. So there's so many resources and so many things out there now that weren't out there 20 years ago. And we are so blessed as homeschool moms to have that. So I hope that this gives you just a glimpse of what's out there, but also I recommend going to one other website that I've already mentioned was christianbook.com. On the top of their website, they have Bibles, Bible study, all the different topics, but there is a whole section for homeschool. click on that and just go through the curriculum. And what you can do is usually with the curriculum, it will have a section where you can click on that, whatever you're wanting to purchase, and it'll flip you through the first few pages and the table of contents. So that can give you an idea of what that certain curriculum might be like and how it might work with your child. Um, if you're really not sure and you're really hesitant, I would not buy a box curriculum right now. I would start out just doing the quizzes and finding out what works best. I don't do box curriculum because my children do well with one curriculum that has the math is better for them. Then they have another one where the science might be better for them. And so I don't want to stick to one box curriculum because that's keeping our homeschool in a box, and my children are not in a box. My oldest son, he is very visual and very auditory. He loves videos, videos, videos. I mean, he loved the teaching textbooks because he could have he could have the CD going and it could have a lesson. But another one that was kind of a drawback too, he still likes the one-on-one learning because he wants me to be there to help him step by step until he gets the hang of it. My younger son is on the spectrum, so we have to take things step by step by step. And then we also have to do it in short increments because he is not great with his attention span yet. So we're building on that. Every year it gets a lot better. And then also, when we homeschool, don't think that you've got to keep your kids on this certain schedule and all of it be book work. Get them outside. Take field trips. Use manipulatives. Go online and say, search what are hands-on activities for addition or hands-on activities for equations. And the internet will give you so many that are great. Just take advantage of that. Play games with your kids. Sometimes you might, if you're, especially in math, if you use games like Life, Monopoly, just simple things like Connect Four to keep them realizing, with geometry of vertical lines, horizontal lines, angles. Just think about all the board games that you might have in your closet that you could be using with homeschool, and your kids will love it. Make it fun, and it does take a lot of work on us, but that's what God's called us to do. He's called us to be a mom, which is the toughest job on earth. Then on top of it, now he's called us to be a homeschool mom, which means we've got to be a teacher too, which is probably, I think, the second hardest job there is. So good luck with this year. Don't want to say good luck. Be blessed this year, and we'll be praying for your homeschool year as we ask that you pray for us too. And we hope that we can share more and more tips. And thank you for being here for Tip Tuesday and for the tips. Hopefully these tips about the homeschool curriculum will help you in choosing what's best for your child. Thank you and stay awesome.